The Uninvited Guest, Chapter 5. The Expert's Opinion. Hours passed as Detective Larson and Sarah pored over every detail of her experiences with Whiskers. They were interrupted periodically by officers coming to update Detective Larson on their own investigations, but otherwise remained locked in intense discussion. Finally, there came a knock at the door and a uniformed officer entered. "Detector Hardwick is here to see you, sir," he announced. Detective Larson stood up and smiled at Sarah reassuringly. "That's our occult expert," he explained. "I'll go greet him and bring him in." Sarah nodded and drained the last of her now-cold coffee while waiting. Her nerves were taut with anticipation, hoping this man could provide some insight into what they were facing. A few minutes later, Detective Larson returned with a man in his mid-50s wearing a tweed jacket and round glasses. He had an air of scholarly detachment about him as he extended a hand to Sarah. "Miss Tanner, I'm Detector Hardwick," he introduced himself. "I understand you've been having quite the ordeal." Sarah shook his hand and summarized briefly what she'd endured at Detective Larson's urging. Detector Hardwick listened intently, nodding occasionally and jotting down notes in a small pad. When Sarah finished, he removed his glasses and polished them thoughtfully. "This is indeed most troubling," he mused aloud. "The symptoms you describe align with ancient lore of malevolent entities taking possession of domestic animals to sow chaos and discord among humans." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine at his confirmation of her worst fears. Detective Larson leaned forward eagerly. "So what do we do?" he asked. Detector Hardwick replaced his glasses and steepled his fingers under his chin. "To combat this, we must first ascertain the exact nature of the entity involved," he explained. "Then devise a ritual expulsion that will sever its hold over the host creature." Sarah's mind raced, trying to process this occult mumbo-jumbo. "How do we figure out what kind of entity it is?" she asked. Detector Hardwick smiled thinly. "I have some ideas for identifying it," he replied. "But first, I'll need access to your home to perform a preliminary examination of the premises." Sarah glanced at Detective Larson, who gave an encouraging nod. "Okay, we can go there now if you want," she agreed. Detector Hardwick rose to his feet. "Excellent, let's not delay then," he urged. As they made their way out of the station and into a waiting squad car, Sarah felt a mix of apprehension and cautious optimism. Finally, they had someone on their side who understood what was happening and knew how to stop it. The drive to her apartment building was blessedly short. As they approached the entrance, Sarah noticed something strange. There were no other residents around. Usually, the lobby would be bustling with people coming and going at this hour. She mentioned this to Detective Larson, who exchanged a grave look with Detector Hardwick. "Stay close to us," he advised her quietly. They entered the building cautiously and made their way up to Sarah's floor. As she unlocked her door, a sudden meow sounded from inside. Whiskers was home. Detector Hardwick motioned for Sarah and Detective Larson to wait outside while he went in alone. "I'll assess the situation first," he whispered before disappearing inside. Sarah waited anxiously, every muscle tensed. After what felt like an eternity but was probably only a few minutes, Detector Hardwick reappeared in the doorway. "The entity is present," he announced gravely, "but it has not yet emerged from its host." Sarah's stomach churned with dread. "What do we do now?" Detector Hardwick stepped out into the hallway and closed the door softly behind him. "I believe I know what type of entity this is," he began, "and there's a ritual that can be performed to banish it. But it requires specific ingredients and preparation time." Detective Larson frowned. "How much time?" Detector Hardwick sighed heavily. "At least 12 hours to gather the necessary components and prepare the site," he replied. Sarah felt her heart sink at the delay but knew they had no choice. "Okay, what can we do in the meantime?" she asked. Detector Hardwick looked at Detective Larson, who nodded solemnly. "We'll have to secure your apartment and keep you under police protection until then," he explained. "The entity may try to influence or attack you directly." Sarah swallowed hard but nodded her agreement. She just wanted this nightmare to end and Whiskers back to normal. As they began preparing the makeshift safe house, Sarah tried not to think about what was happening inside her apartment with Whiskers. She clung to hope that this would all be over soon and they'd find a way to save him from whatever dark force had corrupted him. Want to know how this ends? Please like and subscribe as this will motivate me to create more of this content.